So in just a couple seconds, I want to show you a clip of Jen Psaki absolutely dismantling a Newsmax journalist when she doesn't even understand the basic history of the United States of America.
The U.S. ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, talking to a group on Wednesday, essentially said that white supremacy is woven into our founding documents and principles. Now, this statement is getting widely criticized as essentially parroting Chinese Communist Party talking points. So, is the president going to remove her from her position as the representative before that body to promote United States values?
Is the president going to remove an African-American woman with decades of experience in the Foreign Service, who's widely respected around the world, from her position as ambassador to the UN? He is not. He is proud to have her in that position. She is not only qualified, he believes she is exactly the right person in that role at this moment in time. I have not seen her comments. I will say that there's no question that there has been a history of institutional racism in this country, and that doesn't require the UN ambassador to confirm that.
So that's essentially the same lecture, though, that the Chinese delegation gave Secretary Blinken in Alaska last month. So does the president think our founding documents are racist?
I would say that I will leave my comments to speak for themselves, and certainly I think most people recognize the history of systemic racism in our country, and she was speaking to that.
And so that was Emerald Robinson. Again, she's a quote-unquote journalist from Newsmax, which is, of course, one of the networks to the right of Fox News. Like OAN, Newsmax is even more propagandistic and even more extreme and even more insane than Fox News. And what she's trying to do is essentially get Biden's UN ambassador fired for saying something that is 100% objective fact, which is that many of the founding documents of the United States were interwoven with discrimination and prejudice and racism and inequality in specific terms between white people and black people and between white people and the First Nations, the indigenous people, the Native Americans. Those are rooted in those documents. Of course, there's also gendered inequality in many of these documents too. The fact of the matter is the United States was founded in its roots on inequality. You might like to emphasize this supposed idea that all men are created equal, but the actual words line to line, the 3/5 clause, calling some people savages, allowing people to own other people, with race being the defining characteristic of who gets to own who. Those are all deeply unequal things, and they are rooted in the founding documents, right? No one should be afraid to admit that. And so it's wild to me that a Real Deal news agency in 2021 thinks this is the reason that a UN ambassador, the first black woman to hold that role, widely respected, was confirmed by the Senate with like 75 plus votes, meaning that she got more Republicans than many of other Biden's appointees, that she should be fired for saying the truth. And it's like this journalist is like, oh, this is Chinese propaganda. How is it Chinese propaganda to read what a document says? It is not Chinese propaganda to read the US Constitution and other founding documents and see that black people and indigenous people and many other groups were not treated equally to elite property-owning white men. It's just the truth. So like this is it's great to see this. I'm not always a defender of Psaki because, of course, whenever you're a press secretary, part of your job is to lie, basically, for your president. But like this shows, one, that she can really knock it out of the park from time to time, but two, that some of the people in that room are wasting time. Like there needs to be good questions of the president and his staff, and this was an absolute waste of time. If you don't think there's racism in America's founding documents, you're not fit to be a journalist sitting in that room taking up space that could be used by somebody that actually knows something.